God is so good. Why God is so good? Let me ask that again. You know why God is so good? That because He gave us His Son to die for all the wrong things that we've done in life. And yet, He could have chosen another way. He could have chosen to do something else. But He chose to go to the cross. Amen. Lord, I just thank You for this day, Lord. I just thank You for the word that You have given me to share this morning, Lord. I just ask for Your guidance this morning, that You would have me to speak the words that You have so clearly given to me, Lord. And Father, I just pray that You will help me to convey the message this morning, Lord. I give You the glory and the honor in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. If you will, turn into get your word. Turn to Joshua chapter 5. That's where my main text is coming, but you know me, I got to kind of fly around a little bit. But Joshua chapter 5. You know, I don't know, I will plug for Wednesday nights. Those of you who are not coming on Wednesday nights are missing out this week. And Miss Julie ignited this word into my heart. Say I don't get to come to her teachings, but I have a wife that loves me enough to bring me a copy of her teaching, so I'm able to read through it and read it. And so, given the time and the season we're in, getting ready for Passover, there's a very good correlation and representation of Jesus Christ and crossing the Jordan River. Amen. So, this morning I want to get you a little excited to jump into the river.
Hallelujah.
I want to get you a little bit excited so that you're ready to jump into the river. Because see, a lot of us, we're comfortable with standing at the riverbank. You see, we're comfortable with coming into church, comfortable with going into worship, comfortable with letting the pastor share a few minutes for a word, all the while standing on the banks of the river and not enjoying what's on the other side. I tell you, it's great on the other side. Hallelujah. Amen. You say, well, what does the Jordan River represent? You see, this is a little excerpt from Miss Julie's teaching on Wednesday night. The crossing happened on the 10th of Nisan. That's the day. Why is that so significant? Because that's the day that the high priest and family would choose the Passover lamb. So God had a plan about leading the people around to that specific time. Therefore, the crossing of the Jordan River is a revelation of Jesus Christ. I'm saying we'll get into a little bit later. But why are we so afraid to jump into the river? Why do we have such a hard time following the voice of the Lord? I have a very good explanation. I don't know if you're ready to handle it this morning or not. We have a hard time hearing the voice of the Lord because we're standing on the banks and we're not getting into the river because we're staying at the cross, not going deeper into what He has for us, going deeper into what He has for us, going desiring. You see, what do you mean desire? Man, if the church would get hungry for God, like people get hungry and get, man, I'm ready to go smash that buffet at the Pioneer. See, I like the Pioneer, it's a lot better than Golden Corral. Man, if God's people could get excited Like somebody who, man, I didn't even eat lunch today because I know we're going to the Pioneer tonight, man. I'm going to put a hurt on that buffet right there. Just think if God's people could get that excited about His Word. If God's people could get that excited about His presence. But you see, because we're not hungry for Him, we're standing on the banks of the river and we're content with McDonald's when there's an Outback on the other side. We're content with, you know what, I'll just go to the dumpster, see what's in the dumpster. You know, oh, yeah, I know there's an Outback. And that means I got to cross the river. That means I got to work to get where it's better. It takes a little bit of work to get where it's better. It takes effort. It's not something that when you say, Lord, I surrender, I give you a life, give my life to you, that He's going to hand you everything on a silver platter. Say, here you go, here it is, all in a nutshell. It takes work. It takes discipline. It takes discipline to say, I'm going to spend time with you. It takes discipline to say, I'm going to devote this time to prayer with no distractions. It takes discipline, Rachel, to say, Cody, I need you to leave me alone for a few hours. I need to spend some time with the Lord. It takes discipline. You see, but we're so comfortable on the banks of the river. And I'm going to tell you, it gets better when you jump in the river. You see, the Israelites came to the Jordan River 2 times. Yeah, that's right, 2 times. The Lord led them there both times. You see, they just didn't happenstance upon the Jordan River just because they were wandering out in the desert. Oh, you know, there's a river over there, let's go to the river. No, the Lord actually led them there. He led them there the first time. Man, I could imagine that if there was a remnant and a generation left when they got there from when they got there the first time, they said, man, why didn't we listen to the voice of the Lord? 2 times He led them there. 2 times. You see, the first time Moses was commanded to send out the spies into the land of Canaan, which were told in Numbers chapter 13, verses 1 through 3. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Send thou men, that they may search the land of Canaan, which I give unto the children of Israel. Of every tribe of their fathers shall ye send a man, every one a ruler among them. And Moses, by the commandment of the Lord, sent them from the wilderness of Paran. All those men were heads of the children of Israel. You see, it's important in that verse, as he says, that they may search out the land of Canaan, which I have given to them. Now, knowing and seeing what God has done, and listening to my grandparents and my parents tell me that, yeah, the Lord brought these 10 plagues, and He delivered us out of Egypt. And then when we got to the Red Sea, you know, we thought it was all over there, but God said, look what I can do. I'll move back the sea so you can go across, and I'm going to swallow up your enemy that's behind you. I'm going to take care of that. I'm going to bring you into a land. I believe I said, let's go take what's ours, baby. Let's go take what's ours. Because the Word said, He said, which I have given unto Israel. So that means whether they look like giants and we look like grasshoppers, it doesn't matter, because He's a giant killer, baby.
Amen.
He can take care of your giants. I'm telling you today, let Him be your giant killer. Let Him slay your giants. You think it's impossible, but nothing is impossible with God. Nothing. No addiction, no problem, no sin in your life is too great for Him to remove it.
Amen.
That's what his word tells us. But you see, the Israelites were insistent on believing those who brought a bad report. Man, you know how quickly gossip travels. And how quickly he said, you know what? It may be the land that God gave us, man. Yeah, there's grapes and honey and, man, everything that we could ever imagine. Because I don't know about you, but I'd have been a little tired of manna at this point. Because they'd had manna for 80 years. Manna. And see, we eat manna over here on the banks of the river. And God said, man, look, I got you some lamb. I got you some unleavened bread. I got you lots of great stuff. And nah, man, this manna, you know what? I done got used to it. We even made a little hot sauce. You know, manna with a little hot sauce. You can't go wrong with manna and hot sauce. And they were content with where they were at. You see, we can't be content with where we're at. We have to jump into the river. Now, I'm not exactly sure how the river was the first time they got there. But it's a little bit, we do know the condition of the river the second time they come. Now, seeing that he sent the 12 spies, I'm assuming that it wasn't in the flood stage like it was the second time around. But you see, Paul says in Galatians chapter 5, verse 9, that a little yeast works itself through the whole batch. So out of the 12 spies, 10 start saying, hey guys, man, I know the Lord promised this, man. There's some big boys over there, man. We ain't no way we can handle it. Yes, you got about 1.5 million Israelites. About 600,000 to 800,000 fighting men capable of doing what the Lord has brought them to do. But yet, they spread like wildfire. Yeah, them boys are big. Yeah, guys, man, I don't really think we can do it, man. I know it's good over there. And I'm telling you, we don't go over there and get our butts full, man. If we go over there, man, it's crazy. People are like, man, they like 8 foot tall over there, man. We like 3'7". One of the greatest point guards in the NBA, Bugsy Bowes, was about 4 foot nothing. But he didn't let him stop that. Didn't let that stop him from going into the league and doing what he's got to do. And he was in the league when there was good players. Michael Jordan, Patrick Ewing. You let God do his work for him. He wasn't scared. Had a successful career, though he was 4 foot nothing. He could have been like, I'm too short. And you got Patrick Ewing that's 7 foot 8. Crazy. I can't be able to go in and score like that. Look up some videos on those people. Good player. Really good ball handler. But he wasn't afraid. But you see, it's just the report from those 10 spies brought fear into the hearts of the camp of Israel. Just think if Bugsy Bowes was afraid because of how tall he was. He'd have never made it one day in the NBA. But he had a successful career because he wasn't afraid. But the report of a few spies brought fear into the hearts of the camp of Israel. And because of this, they missed out of the blessing on the other side. And the Lord says later in Exodus, man, you better tell these people, they really provoking me, Moses. You know, when Moses had to say, Lord, please, whoa, calm down. Please, Lord. How would it look if you delivered us from the hand of Pharaoh only to kill us in the desert? We would be a laughingstock. You would be a laughingstock among the people. You see, they missed out on what God had prepared for them. You know what? I don't want to miss out on what God has prepared for me. I don't want to stand on the bank of the river. I want to jump in the river. Jump in the river. I may look a little crazy. I may look a little silly. I'm going to tell you what, there was a man named David who wasn't afraid, who got down into his boxers. And he told his wife, he said, if you think I'm undignified now, you ain't seen nothing yet, baby. Why are we afraid to jump into the river? Why are we afraid to think about what James thinks of us? Why are we afraid to think what Max is going to think about us? If we're up here, if we're dancing, if we're worshiping, if we're praising the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. You see, I'm talking in my class of praise on Wednesday nights that I wanted to get so good, worship to get so good, praise to get so good. And you got to take the chairs out of the sanctuary. And people walk in for service and they'll be like, where's our seats at? They'll be like, young, you're going to stay here a few minutes. Because it's about to be good. We're about to get our praise on. But you know what? It's because we're jumping in the river. And we tasted what's good to get to the other side. Amen? I wish some people were excited this morning. I tell you. At least one person is excited. 2 people. Hallelujah. Amen. You see, the Israelites missed out on the goodness of the land that God had promised them. You heard it in the Word, that they may search the land of Canaan, which I gave unto the children of Israel. It was theirs. It was already done. All they had to do was get into the river to possess what God had for them on the other side. It was already spoken. It was theirs. God's Word doesn't change. Am I right, James? It was already spoken. It was theirs. If they had understood the concept that no matter what armies, what camps, what kings, what cities lay on the other side, it's ours because our God's declared it. And we get ready to go take what's ours, baby. Let's go do this. Let's jump. Jump in. Jump in. I'm sorry. It's exciting to me. It's exciting to me. I may look foolish. I may look silly. I know I can't carry a tune with a bucket over my head, but I'm a little excited. If you didn't know anything about this, I'm not going to let it rock out praise me. This church sits on a very large rock. I'm not going to let it out praise me. I'm not going to, because I have a reason to be excited. I have a reason to stand up. I have a reason to shout. I have a reason to say hallelujah. I have a reason to say, holy, holy is the Lord God Almighty. You see, we get a little upset when the worship team is singing the chorus for the 72nd time, and we wish, man, why won't they stop? And they're up there saying, man, why won't they join us? But if you think that's tiring, are you going to tell them to stop in heaven when you get there? Hey, guys. Y'all mind stop saying, holy, holy is the Lord God Almighty? Man, we've been saying that for the last 10,000 years. Do you think you could, let up for 20 minutes? Man, I'm just saying. Perspective changes things. You see, there were 2 spies, Joshua and Caleb. who brought a different report of the Lord. They told Israel, look, we saw everything that God had promised. The land flowing with milk and honey. The goodness. And we can defeat our enemy because God is with us. We got this. He's got our backs. Why didn't Israel walk into the blessings of God the first time? Because they let fear consume their thought processes. You see, when you let fear consume your thought processes, you'll begin to question and doubt. Well, man, we can't go into the river, man. It's 40 degrees. We're going to get hypothermia before we cross to the other side. We're going to die before we even get to the other side. So, man, or really, I just saw a cow use the bathroom in the river. I don't want to get in there. Now it's got cow poo in it. I don't want to get in the river. It's dirty now. Man. But you see, we let fear control our thought processes. That's what Israel was doing. And that's what caused them from stepping in to the river the first time. But you see, but God's word instructs us in 2 Timothy chapter 1, verse 7, for God hath not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. You ain't got nothing to be afraid about. Man, if Israel could have understood that concept and walked in power and the authority that had been given to them, they'd have jumped into the river 40 years earlier than they did. They would have got to enjoy the great things 40 years earlier. That's why we can't walk into the blessings that God has prepared for us. Because we are just like the Israelites. We allow fear to consume our thought processes. We allow fear to dictate and control our lives. Think about the man who had a lot of money. He said, Lord Jesus, what must I do? I follow all the commandments. I do everything that it says in the Torah. And Jesus said, well, give up all your money and follow me. Turn around sad. I guarantee you that the Lord said, sell everything you have right now. And I want you to go to a country over here or a country over there. Fear would begin to grip your hearts. Because it would become comfortable living on the banks of the river. And say, but if I sell everything, I won't have my car. I won't have a house with a roof over my head. I won't. You want me to quit my job? Well, the job brings in the money. The Lord's saying, but I'm Jehovah Jireh. The Lord God is your provider. Abraham took Isaac up on the mountain by faith. Didn't take a lamb up there with him. But he trusted in God to provide. And God provided the ram in the bushes. You see, God has chosen a path for each of us to take. He will take us where He wants us to be. He will guide our footsteps and put us in places to where it's right for us to cross the river. You don't think so? Look at the route the Israelites took to the Red Sea coming out of Egypt. It was not the most direct path to the Red Sea. It's like saying, I want to go to Wilmington to the beach, but I'm going to take 85 south to the 77, go 77 down to Columbia, South Carolina, head over, cross over on some back roads, hit 95 north, go up 95 north, and get on 40 to Wilmington. When the most direct path is just to get on 40 and drive all the way till you get to Wilmington. But you see, God took him a specific route for a specific reason. He knew the place where he took him is a place where there's a land bridge that crosses the Red Sea. It's proven. They've done research. They took submersibles down. They proved that the point where the Israelites crossed is the only point in the Red Sea that there's a land bridge that stretches from one side to the other. God took him to a specific place, a specific time to be there. God knew what he was doing. He knows what he's doing with your life. He knows what he's doing with my life. He knows where he's leading you. He knows where he's guiding you. But you see, Moses took them the way that God was leading them. Moses was listening to the voice of God. Moses was following God's instructions. Because he was following God's instructions, Israel came to the Red Sea at a point where the land bridge was. Just imagine that. God's plan was perfect for Israel. And if it was perfect for Israel at that point in the Red Sea, it was perfect for them the first time they come to the Jordan River. But they chose this time not to believe. And God was wanting them to jump into the river, have a little bit of faith. Now let's take a second look at Israel. The second time they approached the Jordan River. Here's where we're going to Joshua chapter 5. Keep in mind that when they approached the Jordan River this time, it was in flood stage. It would have been in no way an easy task to cross the river. Have y'all ever seen the Yakin River when it's really flooded? And you can see the current just going about 40 miles, 50 miles an hour. You cannot cross the Yakin River when it's flooded and in flood stage. The Jordan River is much of the same way. When it's in flood stage, like I said, I don't know what the river was like the first time I got there, but the second time, God said, I'm going to cause them to have a little bit of faith. It was in flood stage. In Joshua chapter 5, look, starting with verse 1. And it came to pass, when all the kings of the Amorites, which were on the side of the Jordan westward, and all the kings of the Canaanites, which were by the sea, heard that the Lord had dried up the waters of Jordan before the children of Israel, until we were passed over, that their heart melted. Neither was their spirit in them anymore because of the children of Israel. Man, if only they would have known that that's what God would do for them, is that he would begin to strike fear in the Amorites, the Hittites, the Jebusites, all the ites that were on the other side of the Jordan. That the Lord, that they were actually now afraid of the children of Israel because they saw God dry up the river. And you say, well, how is that a representation of Christ? Well, you look at where he took the water back to. It wasn't just that he opened it up like he did the Red Sea. He took it back all the way to the city called Adam. Ain't that interesting? Took it all the way to a city called Adam. And you know what? He was saying, I was taking all your sin back to where it began, back to where it started. That's what he did. He was showing the redemption of Israel. And we'll get to that here in just a minute. At that time the Lord said unto Joshua, make these sharp knives and circumcise again the children of Israel the second time. And Joshua made him sharp knives and circumcised the children of Israel at the heel of the foreskins. And this is the cause why Joshua did circumcise all the people that came out of Egypt that were males, even all the men of war died in the wilderness by the way after they came out of Egypt. You see, God had stricken fear into the people who were living in Canaan. But this is my opinion. I believe he would have done the same thing the first time. The Israelites, if they had crossed it the first time. Do you find it interesting that the Lord commands Joshua to circumcise the Israelites again? Ouch. See all the males in here starting to cringe. And they just had some rocks and not the best equipment to have it done. There's a significant meaning that has nothing to do with the law when they were circumcised the second time. Continuing on to verse 7. And their children whom he raised up in their stead, them Joshua circumcised, for they were uncircumcised, because they had not been circumcised them by the way. And it came to pass when they had done circumcising all the people that they abode in their places in the camp till they were whole, till they were healed. And the Lord said unto Joshua, this day I have rolled away the reproach of Egypt from off of you. Wherefore the name of the place is called Gilgal unto this day. You see, the circumcision had a more significant meaning than merely just adhering to the law, as it has previously been handed down to Moses to be circumcised. When God tells him that he rolled away the reproach, it is translated as saying that I have rolled away the shame and disgrace. Man, where does that sound familiar? You see, God said, when I took you across the Jordan and I asked you to be circumcised, I took all your shame, your disgrace from your bondage to slavery, from the life you once knew. Doesn't Paul speak of us being new creations through Christ Jesus? Now you're starting to see the parallels. Starting to click. Starting to be put together here. Israel had become a new beginning. There are more significant things that to happen with crossing over the Jordan River that represents a new creation. You see, the timing happened to be so perfect that when they crossed the River Jordan this time, that it was Passover. They celebrated Passover. Now, what better way to represent Christ than it to be the time of Passover when they crossed over Jordan to celebrate being redeemed by the blood of the Lamb. That's just my thought process. But I don't know about you, but God's timing has always proven to be impeccable and right on time, even when we can't see it at first. There is a significant to Passover that they celebrated when they crossed over Jordan. It's a reminder to Israel of their redemption. That's how it correlates to you and I jumping into the river, to you and I crossing the river. You see, redemption awaits on the other side. We become a new creation in Christ Jesus. It may not be comfortable to cross the river, but it's better on the other side. Things were different for the Israelites after they celebrated the Passover. Manna was no longer provided for them at this point. They began to enjoy the fruits of the land of Canaan. You see, once we cross the Jordan, it's just as important to listen to the voice of the Lord. You see, when people taste their redemption, they stay right where they're at with their feet still in the river. Man, God saved me. He's good. But I'm just comfortable staying right here. I'm going to go no further. I'm good. It's good. The water's just fine. I'm cool with the water going over my ankles. I'm good. Oh, it's good right here. That's good. The disciples did the same thing with the transfiguration up on the mountain with Jesus. They said, man, it's awesome right here. Let's build those tabernacles and have church right here. I was like, man, it's better yet to come. Just wait. It gets better. You see, they're unwilling to fully step into the plans that God has for them on the other side. Why is it so important to listen to the voice of the Lord? We have been redeemed by crossing the Jordan, which is a representation of us accepting Jesus as our Savior through the cross. You see, when they listened to the voice of God, they were able to defeat Jericho. You see, God sent the commander of his army down to Joshua. Joshua was like, hey man, are you for us or against us, brother? You're a little bold. The angel said, I'm not for you, but I'm not against you either. I'm the commander of the Lord's army. And this is your instruction. This is how you defeat Jericho. You're to march around it 6 days. And then on the 7th day, you're to march around it 7 times. And then you're supposed to blow the shofar and shout. Now, for a camp that had refused to cross the river 40 years ago, Joshua, you want us to do what? Don't you know we've been marching in the desert? And you want us to march around the city? Once a day, then on the 7th day, you do what? But they did. And they defeated Jericho. But right after Jericho, there was a little establishment, a little village called Ai. I don't know how you pronounce it. It's just A and I. But you see, they got a little arrogant with their victory at Jericho. Some men came up to Joshua and said, hey, let us go knock these fools out right quick. Hey man, it's just a little village. It's just Wallburg. Let's go take them out. You know, it'll take us like 20, 30 minutes maybe. I don't know. Let's go up there. Joshua's like, yeah, go ahead. Take with you some men. Go up there. And the Israelites were defeated. Because they did it their way instead of God's way. Why? They had not listened to the Lord. They went into warfare under the wrong authority. I ain't going to go there because that's a whole other sermon and we'd be here like a camp meeting revival if I got into that. But they went in under the wrong authority. They tried to do it by human hands. They didn't try to do it by God's hands. They tried to do things man's way instead of how God wanted them to do it. Only when the Israelites listened to the voice of God, being patient and waiting for His instruction, only then were the Israelites able to defeat Ai. You see, the Israelites have become a new creation when they crossed the river Jordan. Just like the Israelites, we became a new creation when we surrendered our lives to Jesus Christ. And Israel gives us important clues as to why it's important to be patient and wait on His instructions. If we don't listen to His instructions, we often fail. Then we get frustrated because we have a distorted perception of, man, I thought God really wanted us to do this, and then, man, I went and I failed. And that's crazy. I thought God, but we're not thinking about that we did it on our own. Instead of, Lord, when do you want me to do this? Lord, when do you want me to, Lord, how do you want me to do this? When do you want me to do it? When is your timing perfect for me to do this? Instead of trying to do it on our own. You see, when we rush into things on our own, we are easily defeated. But when we are patient and we wait on the Lord, we walk in victory. You see, our focus has to be on the Lord. If our focus is not on the Lord, we'll stay at the riverbank. We'll stay there just being content with just a minute speck of what He has for us, and not enjoy what's on the other side. You see, if you're driving down the road and your focus is not straight on the path, you're looking at something to the left, guess what you begin to do? You begin to pull that steering wheel over to the left. Or if you're looking to the right, off to the right, you begin to pull over to the right. Because your focus wasn't straight where it needed to be. It wasn't straight. It wasn't focused where it needed to be. It's just like Peter when he got out of the boat. His focus for a time was on the Lord. But then he saw the waves and the storm and the hell in his life. And he began to sink because he lost his focus. Focus on the Lord. See what He's got for you today in the river. I want you to get excited. Jump, jump, jump into the river. Jump, jump, jump into the river. Man, excited about jumping into the river. And I'm even more excited because I started sharing a little bit about this Wednesday night. Julie said, whoa, you're getting all over my teeth, you know? So I'm very excited about what Miss Julie has coming this Wednesday night. In the same way, we have to keep our focus on Christ to keep us on the path that He has for us. Man, focus on the Lord today so that you can get into the river, that you can enjoy the goodness on the other side. Amen. Lord, I just thank You for this day, and I thank You for Your word that has been brought forth, Lord God, and I pray that You will help us to jump into the river without abandoning, Father God. Lord, help us to enjoy the blessings that are on the other side. Father, I ask that You be with us as we go through this week, Lord. Be with Pastor and Rhonda as they travel back today, Lord God, and be with those that were unable to be here today, Father God. Lord, I just pray that you would just bless them and continue to help them, Lord God. And I just thank you for your word, and I thank you for the redemption of the cross. Praise you, and I give you the glory and the honor. Amen. Amen. Don't forget, give Miss Carmen, let her know.